EV sales are slowing. In August 2023, it took about twice as long to sell an EV in the US as it did the previous January.
Consumers generally still have a little bit of anxiety, both about range and some of the know-how when it comes to EVs.
The mainstream appeal of these cars is still not there. They're still too expensive, and they've got too many limitations in terms of how you use them.
Yeah, you heard that right. The 2024 car market crash has begun. Who are all responsible for this, and what could be the reasons? Imagine a huge dealership with endless rows of cars and trucks. Can you picture this? Well, guess what? This isn't just any dealership. It's a Ford and Lincoln dealer, and they've got so many vehicles that they need overflow parking lots just to handle the overflow. Ready for some mind-blowing stats? Over the past 30 months, new car inventory on dealer lots has skyrocketed by a jaw-dropping 195%. We're talking about a leap from a mere 885,000 cars to a whopping 2.61 million new vehicles, sitting pretty on those lots. That's like going from 0 to 100 real quick in the car world. But hold on, because here's where things get even crazier. Just a few months ago, dealers were slapping on addendum stickers and markups, like it was nobody's business. Now, they're swimming in tens of millions of dollars worth of inventory that they're struggling to move. Billions of dollars worth, to be exact. So what does this mean for us, the consumers? Well, it's actually good news for once. Remember those days when dealers held all the cars because there were only a handful of cars to go around? Yeah, those days are long gone. With supply outweighing demand, prices are finally starting to come down. It's a buyer's market out there, folks. Dealers are more willing to cut you a deal than ever before. After years of being praised as the leader in consumer demand and automotive innovation, the United States is now at the forefront of this impending disaster. Amidst a sea of unsold inventory, dealerships are fighting a desperate battle to survive in what was once a thriving market. But don't be misled by hearing this. This crisis goes well beyond American borders. It's a worldwide phenomenon, with nations all over the world having to deal with the consequences of overproduction and declining consumer demand. Every corner of the world is affected by the collapse of the car market, from thriving metropolises to isolated villages. So how did we end up in this horrible situation? The seeds of anarchy were sown back in 2020, when producers scrambled to keep up with the rapid demand driven by a booming world economy. But as time went on, the facade started to show signs of weakness, and supply was now frighteningly outpacing demand. What was the outcome? An excess of unsold inventory that now poses a threat to plunge the whole industry into a catastrophic financial collapse. Used to be a vibrant center of activity, dealerships now resemble ghost towns, with the exception of the occasional tumbleweed passing by their once live showrooms. However, some people in the middle of the mayhem are determined to fight it to the death. Dealerships are doing everything they can to move inventory and avert certain death, from creative marketing tactics to deep discounts and incentives. However, in spite of their best efforts, the great car market collapse of 2024 has already started, and its effects are only going to get worse. The future of the automotive industry is in jeopardy as consumers watch in horror as prices plummet, and once untouchable brands struggle on the verge of bankruptcy. According to a recent Kelley Blue Book report, the cost of a new car decreased by 3.5% in January over the same month previous year. Sales of new cars averaged $47,401. The increase in new car inventory is the primary cause of the downward pressure. According to COGS data, it was 2.66 million units as of January, a 49% increase in the previous year. Jonathan Smoke, chief economist at Cox, stated in a different report that the consumer has a limited sense of urgency right now other than cash in hand, due to higher rates so far this year. But what does that mean for you and your dream car? Well, it's not just any car that is at risk. Manufacturers of family cars might see big price cuts, while luxury car makers might fare better. But why the difference? And what about those fancy luxury vehicles? The price war has already started in the electric vehicle sector, and it might spill over into traditional combustion engine segment too. Meanwhile, electric vehicle manufacturers could face setbacks because of high energy costs and expensive prices that many consumers just can't afford at the moment. Take Tesla, for example. In January 2023, they slashed prices of their cars in the UK by up to $8,000, bringing them into the same price range as brands like Kia. Other automakers like Ford and Lucid follow suit by reducing their own electric vehicle prices. This might mean that both new and used car prices could stabilize after years of being ridiculously expensive. But don't expect them to go back to pre-pandemic levels anytime soon. During the pandemic, prices soared because of disruptions in the supply chain and a shortage of semiconductor chips, which are essential for making cars. But now, things are changing. Auto loans become more expensive due to high interest rates, and people's willingness or ability to purchase cars is decreased by concerns about inflation. Now, let's talk about day supply. It's a fancy term that basically tells us how long it would take to sell all of the available cars based on the current car sale rate. The industry sits at around a 75-day supply, but some brands are way off the charts. Take Dodge for example. They got a whopping 276-day supply of cars, just sitting there collecting dust. That's like having a year's worth of inventory ready to roll. And if you're thinking about haggling for a deal, now's the time to strike. Owners of Dodge dealerships are practically begging for customers to take those cars off their hands. It's like money is slipping through their fingers every month as they pay off those floor plan interest expenses. But wait, there's even more. Lincoln, Chrysler, Ram, Jeep, Buick, Infiniti, Mitsubishi, Genesis, and even Ford are all swimming in excess inventory. We're talking about anywhere from 105 to 276 days supply for these brands. And guess what? Dodge has enough cars to last them a whopping 9 months. That's right, if they shut down every manufacturing facility tomorrow, they'll still have enough cars to keep the lot stocked for almost a year. The main issue here is that Dodge manufacturing plants are still making cars, but people aren't buying them like they used to. Dealerships often say they need more affordable cars to attract more customers. The problem is that car makers make a lot of money from expensive cars, so they don't care much about what dealers want. This leads to a lot of cars sitting in dealerships without getting sold. This situation creates opportunities for good deals for buyers. For example, let's look at what's happening at Honda. They're offering a big discount of $8,700 on a brand new 2024 Honda Ridgeline. This discount is way more than the profit that Honda makes on a truck. It's a sign that dealerships, like AutoNation, really want to get rid of cars that aren't selling. This is happening because there are fewer people buying cars and dealerships have too many cars sitting around. If this trend continues, we'll keep seeing offers like this. Dealerships might not advertise their best prices, but they'll likely be more than willing to negotiate. You might have more flexibility in getting a good deal compared to before. You can also skip negotiating altogether by buying your car online at a website like CarEdge.com. Here's another example of a 2024 Chevy Silverado 2500 Heavy Duty. It's being sold for $9,800 less than its original price, and the final out-the-door price after negotiating was $86,500. That's a big drop from the initial price of $91,200. This shows how much dealerships are willing to work with customers to sell cars these days. Dealerships have a lot of inventory they need to sell, and it costs them money to keep the cars on their lots, so they're more than willing to negotiate to sell a car when a customer is ready to buy. In the past, some dealerships charge extra fees on popular cars like the Chevy Silverado 2500 or the Honda Ridgeline. But now, the market is changing, and dealerships are adjusting to meet the demands of customers. And it's returning to a more balanced state. It's better for everyone when supply and demand are more in line with each other. So while it might seem like a big change, it's actually a positive shift for car buyers. So there you have it, folks. The automotive world is in a state of chaos, with dealerships drowning in excess inventory and consumers holding all the bargaining chips. It's a wild ride out there, but if you're in the market for a new ride, now's the time to strike. Grab yourself a deal before the tide turns and the car apocalypse comes to an end. If you liked the video, then please hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. Do comment your thoughts on this in the comments below, and stay tuned for more updates. And of course, until next time.